Alright, what's going on, guys? So, what you're seeing on the screen right now are cinemagraphs. Okay, cinemagraphs. I've been doing cinemagraphs myself since 2011, I believe. I didn't know that they were called cinemagraphs when I was creating them. I was bored. I just thought I would do something innovative and cool, and little did I know I was creating something that was going to eventually become a very popular trend in corporations and companies like Netflix or the Oscars. You can pretty much think of any other big business who has big budgets for top of the line commercials, and cinemagraphs didn't have a name initially when I had first started creating them. I was just doing something cool on the computer, and that's what I like to do. I kind of like to build something that's innovative and design something that looks cool. I've got a few cinemagraphs hidden deep inside of my Facebook profiles, on my videos somewhere. They're not necessarily of the highest quality, but they're definitely cinemagraphs. And one of the things that I like to try to do is create, not from photography, but from digital manipulation of editing software and different assets of pictures and transparent images. I like to go in there and create my own little cinemagraphs or animated backgrounds to put inside of some of my clients' websites. Now, obviously, if I wanted to create a cinemagraph from a video and a photograph, which is basically what a cinemagraph is, it's a photograph mixed with cinema or cinematic video, to where a portion of the video is animated and the majority of the picture is either static or in a loop, right? So there are several ways that you can create cinemagraphs. I'll show you a totally separate video dedicated to taking some existing assets or your photography or your video and turning it into a cinemagraph. But in this video, I'm going to show you how I use Telestream Wirecast and Adobe Fireworks to create animated backgrounds, simply because it's another way. It's just a different way to create some animated effects on your website. So what I'm going to do first is open up Adobe Fireworks. I've already designed the project file that I'm going to use for this project. I just need to go and browse for it and open it. So let me do that first. I'll go over projects, clients, movie, and I believe this is on background. Original. Yeah, I think this is it. Alright, so here we have our let me actually take this video off now. My project file. Okay, so I've got this project file. As you can see, all of the different assets are on different layers. I'll kind of deconstruct it and then I'll revert it back to its original state so that you can understand how I set up all the layers. I pretty much designed this to have all the layers appear as though this is one big image, but really there's a whole lot of layers on top of this. Alright, so I'm going to deconstruct this, but let's see. Well, yeah, I'll just do that first. Alright, so I've got this dark overlay. Alright, because I want the website background to be kind of dark, and I put this dark overlay here because I'm going to have white text over the top of this image or over the top of this video. Alright, so this background right here, pretty cool. Let me actually delete a couple of things that I know I don't need while I'm doing this. Alright, so I'm going to move this out of the way, and actually I'm going to delete it all. Alright, the next image is this. Alright, so you can see this is kind of overlaid, and it's kind of to give it a more of a 3D effect, to give it some depth. What I did was took the original person's body and I made it a little bit transparent, and I used the eraser tool. Let's find the eraser tool and I made it pretty big. with a feathered edge to kind of erase along the outsides of her body. Of course, I changed that effect down to like 19-20% so that it doesn't give it a hard erase. Alright, so if I click, you know, right here in her face, and I keep clicking, eventually it's going to erase her. Alright, if I had this set up to 100, it would erase it all together. Alright, so let me delete that. So that layer was on the very top to give it a little bit of depth. This layer here. This layer here, which is really blurred. It's really blurry, so I've blurred it. Then I've got her shadow. Alright, I've got the text that goes behind her, the text that's kind of around her. So this is an overlay of text that kind of brings the background in through the text. Alright, the text itself. We've got this image right here. Alright, so it's supposed to appear that a person is back here. And then I've got these little shadows. So basically what I did with these was I took the pen tool, alright, pen tool, and I drew, you know, a little outline of what I wanted that shadow to be. By default, it has a anti-alias edge. So let's say I change the color of this. Alright, by default it has an anti-alias edge. I change the edge to feather, and I turn that feather up to 100%. Now it has a feathered edge, and I turn that to black. Alright, so this is going to give us like a ghost effect or some creature in this forest, but I'm going to delete that. And what I did was duplicated the ones that I created, and I might have mirrored a few of them so that they don't all look the same. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and delete some of those. And then I've got this blurred forest in the background and another blurred forest. So I've got a blurred forest going to the right, a blurred forest going to the left. If I turn that blur off, this is what the forest actually looks like. Alright. And if I had the blur on, this is what it looks like. Alright, so let me go ahead and delete that, that, and that. What I'm going to do is go to File, Revert. And this is what I came up with. So if I turn off one layer, or if I turn on each layer, you'll have an idea of how I set this entire canvas up. Alright, so first I've got my blurred forest, and you see there's a little transparency over here on the right side because the blur is going to the left. Alright, if I turn the blur off, it's a normal photo. Alright, so I duplicated the photo and created a blur that goes over to the right. And now I've got these little creatures, figures that I've drawn with the pen tool, and I've duplicated. Okay, and then I've got the text that goes behind my character, the overlay of that text. So all I did to create that overlay was copy the background and paste it inside of the text, and then made it transparent. Of course, I can go more in depth on something like this in another video dedicated to doing graphic design or manipulating photos. And then I've got the text that's supposed to be behind the girl, which is normal text. Alright, I've got this layer, which is her shadow, this layer, which is another character in the movie, this layer, which is a blurred version of the girl, a layer on top of that, which is a more focused version, but it has a motion blur to make it appear as though she's in motion running. And then I've got a another semi-transparent layer that kind of brings out her full figure. Of course, I wanted it to look like she was in motion. Alright, so one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and grab my It Knows text from another slide or another file if I can, and throw that behind it. Let's see, computer, projects, clients. It's important to stay organized. It's really important to stay organized. Let's see, I have a couple of people watching and a comment, so I'm going to go in here and check that out in a second so that I can reply to your comments in real time. But definitely stay organized. It's going to help you with your productivity. It's going to help you get your projects done way faster. So let's find our project file. I want to say this is it. No, this isn't it. Close. Not close enough. Alright, let's see what we got. Nope. So even though I'm organized, very organized, I still have to find certain files that I wanted to use. So let's see, website frame grabs, video. I think this is the one I wanted to use, but if I can find out what text that was. Alright, so what I'm just going to do is open one of my older projects so that I can rip that text out of there, and I think it is the social media banner. Open with Fireworks. So what I like about Adobe Fireworks is that I can open Adobe Illustrator files, I can open Adobe Photoshop files, and they're pretty much backwards compatible. In Adobe Photoshop, I can't open Adobe Fireworks files. In Illustrator, I can't open Adobe Fireworks files. So I see Fireworks as like, you know, your Xbox One, whereas Photoshop documents and Illustrator documents are like Xbox games that can be played on the Xbox One. You can't go and play Xbox One games on an Xbox. Alright, that's kind of how I look at it. So I'm going to take this text, we're going to copy it, paste it here, and transform it and make it really big. Let's see, Photoshop effects, turn that off. Let's see if we can convert it to a path. There we go. Now I can align this with my text in the background, and it should just about fit. I just need to align it perfectly. Alright, that's better. The reason I wanted to do this though, to throw that text back there, is because if I don't have that text, I'm going to have this little line that's in between the text that goes behind my character and the text that's around her, because they have two different effects. So I threw a solid layer of text behind it to make that appear to be one solid big image. Alright, so we've got this kind of 3D-ish effect on our text. I'm going to try to align it as perfectly as I can. So let's see, this is at width 1657 pixels, 1657. Alright, so that should be the exact same size. I'll zoom in and try to get it to sit just perfectly behind that. Alright, I'm very picky. Now I can turn all of my other layers back on, and this is what we have. Alright, so like I said, I have this black overlay because this is going to be on a website, and I want the white text that's going to be on the website. If I put text on there, I want it to stand out, and I don't want the background to be the main part, the main visual that you see. Obviously, the video is going to be the most attractive part of the website, but I don't want it to stand out so much that it takes away from everything else I'm going to include on the website. So I'm going to have it black, alright, or this black overlay. Now what I can do is I can select certain layers. So what I'll do is I'll lock all the layers that I don't want to animate. So right now I'll turn this black background off so you can kind of see what I'm grabbing. This layer has her shadow, so if I move it, boom, that's what it looks like. I'm going to move that shadow, and then I want it to grab a few of the little silhouette ghosts that I've created in the background. Let's see if we can grab a good one. I think this will be good. And every layer that I don't want to accidentally grab or manipulate, I'm going to lock. Alright, so now I can grab all the layers with Control A that I want to manipulate, and then I can drag them to kind of have this animating effect. Alright, and I'm going to use Telestream Wirecast to record myself doing this. But what I'm going to do first, before I do that, you see how you got these red squares and these little outlines when I hover over each shape. I'll go over to View. I'm going to turn off Slice Guides, View, Slice Overlay, View, Edges, View, Smart Guides. I'm going to turn those Smart Guides off. View, I'm going to turn off the guides, Show Guides and Snap to Guides, and let's make sure everything else is unchecked. Now when I hover over them, of course they're going to show outlines when I hover over them, but if I have Control A, if I have them all selected, it's not going to highlight anything. So I click Control A and all those layers are selected. Now when I hover over them, you don't see those outlines. That's important because I'm going to record my screen, and I'm going to hide my mouse, and as I do that, I can basically create this animation. Okay, and this is going to go on the background of our website. So what I'll do in the meantime is, of course, I want to save this. Obviously you want to save your project, so you know, in case the program crashes, you can go back and recover it. I'm going to open up Telestream Wirecast. So of course I'm using Telestream Wirecast now to stream this video. I'm just going to click File, New in my program, and it's going to open up a new window. And in the program, in the Wirecast that I'm using now to record the stream, I've actually got my mic input and my desktop audio enabled so you can hear what's going on. For instance, if I click this, you should be able to hear my desktop, right? So what I'll do with this is we'll go in here and we'll add an audio shot. So first I'm going to add that audio shot, or actually let me do a screen capture first. So I'm going to do a screen capture 3, capture video, capture type monitor, show cursor. No, we don't want to show the cursor. We can do 30 or we can do 60 frames a second to make it as smooth as possible, which means it's going to take up more processing power. And I don't want to capture system audio. Instead, I'm going to import my own audio into this project. Now, we've already got the right monitor selected because I can see here inside of my preview that this monitor I'm using to set this Wirecast project up is the one that's being captured. So I'll click OK. And what I'll do is, you know, I'll probably move this over to another screen when I actually start to record, but I'm going to go ahead and set up audio. So we're going to add a media file. I'm going to go and browse for our audio track. Let's go projects, clients, audio, boom. Alright, so if I were to, let's say, I'm going to set this to loop, and we don't want to remember the position. I'm going to go ahead and let you preview what this audio track sounds like. Alright, so with this audio file, what I did was I disabled the remember position even when not live, so that when I go back and cue this track, it starts from the beginning. We're only going to cue it once when we actually record the background video. So what I'll do is, let's see, we're going to go and set up our output, which is normally you can stream this to Facebook, but our output is actually going to be streamed to a local file on our computer, which we're going to upload to YouTube. So I'll go over to output settings, and we're going to choose record to disk MP4. Okay, and I'm going to click browse so that I can figure out where I want to save this. We're going to go to our clients folder, we're going to go over to video, and we're going to save this as, you know, website wallpaper, right? Save. Okay. And what I want to do actually is go to those output settings, and I want to change this from 720p 30 frames a second to maybe 1080p 60 frames per second. Alright, so let's find 1080p 60 frames per second. It's going to take up more processing power if your computer can't handle it, so definitely that's something you want to keep in mind. And we have default 1080p 60 frames a second, x264. This means HD. Awesome. And okay. Alright, so now our canvas is at 1080p. What we'll do is go ahead and make sure our audio is queued by selecting it, and we're going to make sure our video is queued by selecting it. And we won't push the audio back over into the live shot until we start recording. But before I start recording, I'm going to move this over to another screen, which means you won't see it. When I'm ready to record, I'm going to click on my record button, the on to record button, and then I'm going to click over on the arrow so that I can arm the recording and then throw the audio over. Throw the audio into the recording. This means I'm going to record a local file on my computer. I'm not streaming over the internet. I'm just rendering a video in real time. That's the benefit of doing this, because you don't have to go to Premiere Pro or After Effects to create the animation that I'm going to use and then wait for it to render. I'm just going to animate it with my mouse, dragging my hand across the screen and clicking those layers just so I can move those layers, and I'm just going to record that animation using my desktop, right, using this recording software. Alright, so let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Just keep in mind, when I'm ready to record, I'm going to arm this button, and then I'm going to click on the arrow over. So I'll open up Adobe Fireworks, and I'm going to type tab again. Wait, no, actually tab one time, and I want to see if I can do a, let's see, preview. I'm trying to see if I can do a full screen, which I think I can do if we've got expand mode. Alright, so what I'll probably end up doing is, first I'm going to kind of zoom in with this a little bit. I want to zoom it in to fit, so I can go to Window, I think maybe it's View, Zoom, Fit All. Alright, so we're going to go to the View, Zoom, Fit All. Now with Wirecast, I will go over to my video layer, alright, which is the screen capture, and I'm going to resize that layer. So by default, the aspect ratio is locked, which means when I drag the X scale, the Y scale will automatically drag with it. So I'm going to drag this layer up. I'm going to move the position of that video by clicking on the video itself in my preview shot and holding down shift and pressing the up key. Alright, we're going to try to center this. Now I'm going to scale this a little more. And as you can see now, well, in the preview shot, our banner goes across the entire 1080p window. Now in the live shot, we haven't pushed the preview shot over to the live shot, so the live shot not only shows this banner that we're editing, but it also shows the canvas and the window of the software, the program we're using. We don't want to see that in the actual video, so I had to zoom in and fit this to my screen around the canvas of my photo I'm editing, which is also in 1080p. Alright, so I'm going to push this over. I'm going to turn the audio off first, so by selecting a clear layer, and I'm going to push that over. So now this is pretty much full screen. When I move this out of the window, I'm going to be able to see my entire project. All right, I hope that makes sense. So before I continue, I'm going to go back and click tab and turn on my overlay tab. All right, so now I have my overlay on and it's still full screen. I'm going to go here and click Control A to select all. Now when I go back into my Wirecast window and arm it to record, if I come back here, all I have to do is click on the window itself to activate it. I'll move my mouse in here and then I'll click and drag, right, to start animating. I'm just gonna like kind of move this back and forth. So remember, when I set my screen capture, I turned off the option for you to see the cursor. So in here, even though you can see my cursor on your screen, you can't see the cursor inside of the screen on the software because we've turned that off. We don't want to see that cursor because if you do have that enabled, you're going to see this random cursor in your video in the background when you upload this to YouTube. Alright, so now what I'll do, since I have Control A, I typed Control A on the keyboard to select all of those layers. Now when I hover over them, they won't highlight, you won't see those edges, which means they won't show up in my video. All I have to do is click and start dragging to start, you know, doing the animation. Alright, so it's going to be a real simple animation. The goal is to kind of make it look a little bit scary, you know, but you want it to stand out so people notice, oh, that stuff is moving, what's happening there. So what I'll do now is I'll go ahead and arm this to record after I select my audio track. Alright, I click on my audio track, I arm it to record, and then I'm going to click on the arrow that sends this project over to my live recording. So now you're going to hear audio when I start to do this. So here we go. So while it looks funny now with me moving this mouse just randomly, most people who actually see the video on the website will have no idea how this was created. So I'm making it so long because I want to give the audience time to read what's on the website. And by the time they kind of finish reading the important information, the animation should fade away and loop. Because this is going to be a YouTube video in the background of the website. And then I unarm the video by clicking on the record icon after I fade the audio back out. So all I do to fade the audio back out is tap on the clear layer. Okay, so of course in the software, what I would do is tap on, let me turn this video off. I tap on the clear layer. Alright, so this is the audio layer. I tap on the clear layer, then I'd send that over by pressing this button, which basically removes this audio from my live feed, which is pretty much where the string will show up. In your case, the audio that you hear right now is my live feed. But once I do that, I'll press this button to unarm the recording. Now I can go back and browse for the file. So let's minimize everything. I'll go over to computer, projects, clients, and we'll find that video file. So it knows wallpaper. I can open this, and I don't have to wait for this to render. It's already rendered. It's already there. It exists, and it's in 1080p. So what we would do is we'd go to Google Chrome or your favorite web browser, go to YouTube. So this image will take up a good portion of the website. Yes, it will take up the entire frame of the website. So I'm re-recording this because I wanted a 1080p 60 frames per second version of the video. I've already done a 720p version and I didn't like the overall quality, but I wanted to also take the opportunity to show you guys my process of setting something like that up. Now if you go to itknowsmovie.com right now, here's what you'll see, and it's going to start animating. So for now, I'm just going to mute that tab so you don't hear it. So the quality, I wanted to bring it up from 30 frames a second to 60 frames a second, upload it to YouTube in 1080p HD, so that it gives it a little bit better quality on the actual website once it's imported into YouTube as an HD video. When you go to the website, all I have to do is scroll once on the mouse wheel, and it's going to bring you down to the second portion of the website, pretty much the second slide, and then you scroll a second time and you've got a contact box, and just this other information over here: website, Facebook, email address, let's chat on Facebook Messenger, your Facebook page, website by our agency, coming soon. All right, so this is pretty much how we set up a landing page, just to show eventually there might be a trailer here, a YouTube trailer for the actual movie once they're done with things like post-production. For now, we just want something that looks attractive and kind of brings this mood to kind of represent the movie itself. So obviously this could, thank you, I appreciate it, guys. This could, you could implement this into anything. You can grab your own ideas. You can even incorporate video and different images, different layers. You can create app mock-ups, right? If you are launching a website for an app, you can use Telestream Wirecast to bring in a preview of your phone. So I like to use Air Server. If I open up Air Server and I'll turn on AirPlay Mirror on my phone, it'll bring up my phone, and then I can record the screen of my phone if I wanted to show a preview of an app, for example. And inside of the screen of my phone, I could take this screen, import it into Telestream Wirecast, and then go and grab off of Google iPhone 7 Plus. We're gonna go and grab images, so iPhone 7 Plus, images, tools, size, large, color, transparent, because we want a transparent background. We're gonna find the best image that we can use on our website. So this one's a pretty good image. Maybe we take something like this, which has a transparent background. Save the image in a throwaway folder. So let me go find that throwaway folder. Projects, throwaway. I'm gonna save it. We're gonna open it up in Adobe Fireworks, and then we're gonna cut out the background of the screen. Alright, so I'm just gonna do this real quick to show you an example. I'd probably do something more precise. We're going to delete the background of the screen, and then we're going to import this image into Wirecast and throw the preview of our phone behind it, and we can animate a video to put on the background of our website with a preview of our app, right? So you don't have to go and download any templates from Envato. You don't have to go and hire some big agency to do something like this. Really, there's a lot of things that's possible with Telestream Wirecast. If you're a graphic designer, if you do video editing, if you are a videographer, photographer, you probably will have an idea of how to use this, because maybe you've used Photoshop before. But Telestream Wirecast is nothing but a video editing program. You just edit the videos in real time. You don't put the videos in a timeline and render them out for them to have some action going across this entire timeline, right? You just put the videos into your layers, and I'll show you a quick example. I can delete the shot with my audio and video. I'll go in here and grab a media file, and let's just go and find stock video. Let's do miscellaneous. We're gonna grab, I'm trying to think of a good one. Alright, so this is a great example. Actually, I'm going to play this first so you can see what I've done. And I'm going to turn that music down a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so this was an old video that I did on MySpace. I don't remember, not MySpace, on Facebook a while ago, but it's a video. And what I did was, it's basically a cinematograph. What I did was, I had my webcam set in one place, and I opened up the camera app on my desktop computer, took a snapshot of myself, and I had it set to a countdown, and that snapshot was of me sitting in this chair, right, on this phone, on my laptop. Alternatively, I can record a short video in HD of me sitting there, but I have to be as still as possible so I can get a clear shot of me sitting in this chair. And then I got up without moving the camera at all and moved the chair out of the shot on the other side of the bed, took the laptop, kept the wine on the table over here on the desk, and I moved the chair and everything out of the shot. And then I recorded a second video of me sitting down right here reading these books, and I made sure that I didn't walk over where my chair would have been, so that I can overlay an image of me sitting in the chair on top of the video I recorded with the camera in the same place, right? Of course, with the chair, I cut out the edge of the right side of my body, the back of the chair, the right side of my arm, between my arm and the chair. As you can see, as I'm walking, you can kind of see my leg go through my arm right there, and the bottom of this desk. I cut all of that out so that the video can appear to be behind this still version of me. Alright, this is a cinematograph, but it's an extreme version of a cinematograph. Alright, this is an extreme version, and I've obviously got myself in this picture twice. So the same thing, I did it with Adobe Fireworks. I went in Adobe Fireworks and I cut myself out over the edges where I knew I wanted to create that video in the background. And then I just overlaid this image over the video, which was obviously in the exact same place because the camera never moved. So now I have this pretty cool looking cinematographic video, which is also a photo. And obviously I'm in there twice. I don't have a twin, but that's pretty much how something like that would work. Now, of course, I can go in here and import a video, throw an iPhone over the top of a video in a different layer, and under that iPhone throw a screen capture of my phone using Air Server, and then I can record myself moving through the phone or through the demo app. And then of course I can import that video, that entire video that I saved through Wirecast, into a video editor to trim the beginning, trim the end, and only grab the frames that I want people to see in my on the wallpaper of my website. So I'm not going to save this. What I'll do now is I'll go over to YouTube, and I'm going to make sure I'm in the right account. So that's just a quick tip, quick trick. I have two YouTube accounts under two basically Gmails or whatever, and under one account I like to watch certain things that are more based around entertainment, technology, media. Under my Memphis Entrepreneur Club YouTube account, I only watch things that are related to building businesses, right? So building businesses, self-improvement. So as you can see, this entire feed is made up of like TED, Entrepreneur, Team Fearless, Ask Gary V, 500 Startups, Alpha Male, Business Rockstars, 21 Studios, Ron Hildreth, you know, etc. Then you have entertainment recommendations. So based on what I watch in this YouTube channel, YouTube is going to recommend me things that are related to what I watch. Alright, so this is a way of tricking YouTube and Google and Facebook into showing you what you actually want to see. When I go over to my other YouTube channel, I'm going to have recommendations of like cars and video games and music, right? I don't want those recommendations in my business YouTube. So in this personal YouTube account where I upload my own media, I'll go and add I'll click on upload. We're going to go and browse for our new video and drag it in there. I usually just delete all the content except for the title. I set this to unlisted, and I make sure there's no description and no tags because I don't necessarily want people to come across this on YouTube or find it. And I click on done. It doesn't matter what the snapshot of the video looks like. We're going to wait for this to upload, and we'll go to our website, which I always recommend to have on WordPress, and log in. Alright, so this is our login portal. I customized this as well. We're going to log in, and we're going to go over to pages. I'm going to grab our front page, click edit. Now when you do something like this, you might have different options in your editor because you might have a different theme, different plugins, etc. So don't take this word for word for how I edit and add this video in here, because it's probably going to be different for you. But if you do have a way to add video to a background, you want to look at your documentation and figure that out. We're going to go and find our background, and we have the option to enter a YouTube URL here. So once this is uploaded, it says our video will be ready at so and so. We're going to grab the entire YouTube URL. So obviously I need to wait for it to process. It's not a very long video, but again, it's 1080p 60 frames a second, which is kind of important to me because it's going to give us much better quality. We're going to wait for this to actually go through and process. About 7 seconds remaining. And of course you can return to editing, make some changes if you want to, but wait for it to finish processing. There's going to be 3 thumbnails that come up down here. Don't worry too much about the thumbnails because nobody's going to see it. Inside of your website, if you have the option to disable things like show recommended videos or related videos after the video stops, you want to disable that. You want to try to find a way to set it to where the video loops, and you decide whether or not you want to have that loop to be muted or the audio to play in the website. Depending on the audio itself, some websites, some people's music might be really annoying or obnoxious or loud, so you might want to try to find a way to have the option for them to enable audio and have it disabled by default. If you can't do that and audio is important, then just keep it enabled. If you just want to have an animation with no audio, then you don't have to worry about animating with audio in Wirecast. That's totally up to you. But creating this a different version of the cinematograph, we can now go to our YouTube video. Alright, we can grab this, and I'm going to grab everything before the equal and youtube.be. We're going to grab that entire URL, copy it. Right now it's set to auto 360p because it hasn't processed in 1080p yet. Let's refresh it and see. So what we have to do is go ahead and import that link into our website. Paste. We want it to loop and we don't want it to be muted. We'll click Save Changes. I'm going to click on Preview Changes. And if everything looks right, I'm going to click on Update. Now, obviously, we have to wait for this to process so that it can be 1080p. Now it's processed and it shows up at 720p, 60 frames a second, which is cool. I'm okay with 720p. Most people won't be really watching this on like a 4K TV or anything. A lot of people aren't really gonna be on this website to have a big long experience. So HD, we want it to be 60 frames a second. Now we can go and visit our website. Sometimes it might take a while to update for it to appear in 720p, but now we know we have our 720p version of our website here. So this is, I don't know if you guys can tell, but the quality of this compared to what was there before has significantly improved. Obviously we want to have this motion blur effect, so it's not supposed to be crisp. It's supposed to be kind of grungy, scary, dark. Alright, so it's not supposed to really stand out and be bright. That's exactly what we want. In some cases, as you see, it'll kind of give us a zoom. It's supposed to really fit into the background and still be like a 1080p aspect ratio. Because of the theme that we have installed, our video actually zooms in a little bit, which creates a little bit of a lower quality. So depending on your theme you have installed, it's going to look better if it doesn't automatically create that little zoom, right? So if I refresh this page, you see how the S is right here. Depending on your theme, you might have that S stay there, but when our video actually loads, it zooms in a bit because of the aspect ratio of how this theme is actually set up. So we threw that video back there. It's animated. It kind of stands out, you know, and the sound, I've muted it for now, but the sound, you know, makes it stand out. Now when you go to the website, you have more of a experience. Alright, so that's my entire process of setting up an animated wallpaper specifically for a background website without using video editing software. Alright, it's pretty unique, it's pretty groundbreaking, it's innovative, I think, anyway, in my own opinion. And not only are my clients going to be really happy about this, their audience is going to be excited about this, which is going to make my clients happier, which is going to make my audience happier. It's just like, you know, a never-ending domino effect of creating something so unique that people just want to sit there and look at it and listen to it. So definitely go and check out itknowsmovie.com. This is not optimized for mobile. If you wanted to do a mobile version, you'd have to basically design everything in your canvas sideways, upload that video into Adobe After Effects or Premiere, and export it in a 1080p canvas that is in portrait mode, and then upload that to YouTube. Of course, you'd have to set that to be your mobile background, and, you know, have some conditional settings to where if you're on a mobile device, that mobile version is seen. If you're on a desktop, the desktop version is seen. Alright, so this isn't mobile optimized. This is just my insight of creating an animated background for a website, and I think I've been doing this stream for about 1 hour. Of course, I have to take some time to create the assets that's going to be in the video itself, but really about 30 minutes is what it takes for me to record something like this, upload it, and implement it into the website. And my clients are, you know, pretty impressed, because what they expect to have is a generic website that most people see when they go to any website, and now they have something that's totally bespoke and custom for them. Alright, so if you have any questions, comment on the video below. If you let's see, I was just about to ask you that. Yeah, so if you have any questions, definitely comment on the video. Share this with someone you know who is trying to learn how to create things like this. For instance, someone that's doing web design or has a digital agency. And I will be doing more in-depth videos inside of Memphis Entrepreneur Club like this that have step-by-step guides, lessons, and what do you call it? Case studies. So this is basically a case study for how I set this website up. Just a quick case study though. If you want to see me like design all the assets from scratch to set up the background that I'm actually going to use in the video, definitely consider joining Memphis Entrepreneur Club. I've got a lot of videos I'm recording that I will be uploading, you know, in the middle of this month. So click on that link up there if you want to go and check out what's in Memphis Entrepreneur Club now that you can take advantage of if you're looking to make some money setting up websites for people, right? You don't have to be as advanced. You don't have to be a pro. You don't have to have background experience. I'm going to teach you how to do everything that I know how to do from scratch. And the opportunity you have by becoming a member is requesting that I record certain videos so that you specifically can see how to do whatever it is you want to accomplish for your individual clients. All right, give me a thumbs up, a heart, or something. Share this out. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.
Let's review the top 20.